speaker of this day, Dr. Praveen Devanandan. So, I feel super pleasured and happy to introduce a dynamic and accomplished academician, researcher, and leader in the field of pharmacy practice, Dr. D. Praveen, currently serving as a head of a department of pharmacy practice at St. Peter's Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Telangana. Dr. Praveen is a recipient of prestigious FIP Scholarship 2024 for young leaders and the FIP Early Career Leadership Development Scholarship 2023. With a gold medal in PharmD and PhD from Wales Institute of Science and Technology and Advanced Studies, his academic excellence is well accomplished by his research and leadership contributions. He has authored over 118 publications with a cumulative impact factor of 83.251 and H index of 11 and has contributed to two international book chapters. Dr. Praveen is also a reviver for high impact journals, including Ellsworth Journal of Inspection and Public Health and AAPS PharmStech. He actively holds multiple leadership roles, including Observer, HIP, WHO, Search Farm EXO, Leadership Development Coordinator, FIP, ECPG, Secretary and PI, ISPOR Telangana Chapter, Hon Secretary, IPA, Hamakunda Chapter, and current coordinator of ADR Management Center under NCC PVI. Dr. Praveen has also received over 17 national and international awards, including several Best Paper Awards, University Gold Medal, and recognitions for excellence in academics and research. His impact extends across professional societies, regulatory bodies, and student mentoring, making him a true role model in the pharmaceutical sciences domain. We are really privileged to welcome Dr. D. Praveen as today's distinguished speaker on the topic of does publication matter in PharmD career. So let us join together in giving him a warm and enthusiastic welcome by the reactions down below. And sir, we welcome you to today's session.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Just give me a moment. I'll share my screen.
Sure, sir.
First of all, I would like to appreciate Dr. Bharat and his team for coming up with this wonderful program. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. And also, I would like to apologize to all of you. I have a flight to catch, so I would be going a little faster. Please bear with me. Uh, I informed Dr. Bharat too that we can have another session where we can have hands-on experience on each and every publication tool, research metric, referencing tools, all those things we can do sometime later. But for now, I wanted to just talk to you about the importance of publications and what are the basic requirements for writing a research paper, as well as what kind of papers that as a PharmD, as a pharmacy graduate, that we can write. So my topic, does publication matters in PharmD career? The answer is simple answer is yes, it matters. It matters a lot. The amount of papers that you publish, the quality of papers that you publish defines your profile. Your communication can be defined based on the kind of papers that you can publish. So focus on that. You can start writing your papers well from PharmD first year. There is nothing that you have to be an intern. You have to complete your course, then start your paper. There is no hard and fast rule that like that. You can start writing a paper right from PharmD first year. I'm a little late. I started publishing my papers from second year of PharmD. By the end I completed my PharmD, I had 42 papers with me. I wanted to reach out to every different fields of pharmacy. So initial papers, if you have seen my initial papers, it would be in pharmacology, it would be in pharmacognosy, chemistry, zootics. So I wanted to touch upon everything when I was a student. But later on, I started focusing more towards our profession. There is PharmD. My areas of interest included tuberculosis, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis. These were the major diseases that I worked on. Then in the year 2020, we had this pandemic, global pandemic, COVID happened. COVID, in a way, turned out to be wonderful in terms of publication because we had a lot of time, and I was able to write papers like meta-analysis, systematic reviews on COVID, which was the hot topic at that particular time. So all those publications, whichever I published during that time on COVID, were got published in a very high impact than what I actually expected. So these things will help us out. If you are interested to publish a paper, you should always keep thinking about what happens in the present scenario. what happens in the present scenario, what kind of areas that we can. So that is what we need to be focused. So today I'm going to talk about what is research publication, what are the various types of research publications that we can do, what are required to write a research publication, steps to avoid editorial rejection. Generally, when we submit a paper, no, immediately within 3 or 4 hours, there will be something called as desk rejection. The editor looking at the paper will directly tell that this paper is not fit for the manuscript. So how we are going to avoid that desk rejection, and how we are going to choose a journal, and what are the academic and research indicators that as a pharmacist, as a PharmD graduate, that we need to maintain right from the beginning, because
Sir, sorry to interrupt. You're muted.
uh, am I audible right now?
Yes, sir. Now you're good to go.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where did I. So my agenda for today, I'm going to talk about what is a research publication, what are the types of research publication, how are we going to write a research paper, and what are the steps to avoid editorial rejection, that is disk rejection. Sometimes we submit a paper and immediately in 3 to 4 hours, the paper may get rejected by the editor itself. So how we are going to avoid that, how we are going to clear that first step, and how are we going to choose a journal for publication, and what are all our academic and research indicators. So if we are starting our journey in terms of publication, no, the first step that we need to do is we have to have our profiles ready. What is our name that we are going to use, what kind of affiliation that we are going to use, because after a point of time it is very difficult to track back your paper and add it to your profile. Maintaining your profile, research profile and academic profile, is very very important. Whenever you go apply for a position in terms of research, in terms of academia, this matters a lot. So research publication is nothing but it's an essay of your own understanding. It can be attributed to any particular field of knowledge. It is not like that you have to write a paper only on this particular area. You can write a paper on any area. Let me take myself as example. As I told previously, I used to write when I was a student in second year, third year. I used to write papers in medicinal chemistry. I used to write papers in formulations. But later on, I shifted core clinical, where I wrote papers on tuberculosis, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, COVID, things like this. Then later, as I became an academic, I do still write about COVID, diabetes, or tuberculosis. It's going on, but at the same time, I started working on education advancement, outcome-based educations, novel techniques in education. I do research on that as well. So it is not that you have to write a paper only on one particular area. You can write any paper that interests you. You can write on any area that is a hot topic at that particular time. So you need to provide the best possible information in that particular area using different set of methodologies. So a famous quote by Frank I. Arago is that you get to know, to discover is to publish. Unless and until you publish, there is no evidence that you have a successful knowledge of that particular area. So as the question was about does publications matter in PharmD, I just took two uh, job postings, okay, where the job postings for PharmD, eligible for PharmD. See, this is one of the job posting for an academic to promote an assistant professor to associate professor. They were asking about 7 publications, and this is one for medical writing, where they are asking demonstrated track record of quality publications, research writing, etc. So quality publications and presentation always makes an important part. So do not waste your time. Start as early as possible. Even if you are late, it is not a problem. You can still start. Somewhere you need to start publishing. That gives you the confidence, that tells the recruiter that you have good communication, you have good research skills. So what kind of research publications that we can do as a PharmD, as a pharmacist, is we can start writing a review. A review is nothing but you go through a set of papers on a particular area and compile information. It is kind of like an assignment, but the information compilation has some systematic way how we are going to do. That is reviews. Then we have short communication. Short communications are similar to reviews, but the number of words and requirements will be lesser, less than 1,500 words, less than 2 pages. That comes under short communication. Original research are the research that we do to patients in labs with system something. Those things comes under original research. Case studies, as you know, whatever cases that you come across in your hospitals, clinics, if there is any new novelty in that, you can go ahead with case studies. Preprints are something where when you are suppose working on some important topic and you don't want some other person to overtake you, you can very well write, publish up to whatever you have written in something called as preprint servers. We will discuss about all these things. So review articles. Again, review articles are different varieties. Many reviews are like short communications where you write review for about 1500 words or so. Little lesser references, maybe 20 references, 25 references. Narrative review is the longest form of review where you can go, there is no limit of words, you can go as much as possible in order to explain your particular point, particular view. For example, if you are going to write about how, let us say, lifestyle helps in diabetes. So if you go across all papers that have worked on lifestyle and you are going to tell about information from that paper, like saying that in one particular paper they are telling cycling for 20 minutes gets good advantage in terms of glycemic control. In one particular paper, eating a herbal diet will gives uh, good glycemic control. So in narrative review, you are going to describe about all these things, how it could have happened, what possible mechanism it could have happened. So that is what narrative reviews are about. Then hot topics. Hot topics is, as I said, whatever is crucial, whatever is important at that moment is called hot topics. For example, every month you people can see our PVPA keep posting about ADRs. So if you find out anything related to that, you can publish in hot topic. There are a lot of journals that come forward and publish hot topics. You can write about 1,500 words with few references claiming this is the work that is going on and this has been a hot topic. There are journals that can publish. Then comes systematic review and meta-analysis. These are highest forms of research, if you ask me personally. These have more value than a research paper, to be honest. Why? Because you follow a set of standard procedure. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis are similar in nature. Systematic reviews, you go through papers, you collect information from the paper with the number of individuals that are taking place. See, narrative review, you are telling uh, herbal diet helps in glycemic control or physical lifestyle helps in glycemic control. In systematic review, what you will tell is in 140 patients, like with the number of patients, in 140 patients out of 200 patients, herbal diet worked well. So with the number, if you are giving a protocol, with you are giving a data, that comes under systematic review. If you do statistical analysis for that number, it becomes meta-analysis. When we get into systematic reviews and meta-analysis is a complex area, but these two publications, if you spend time and work on it, then these forms the highest forms of research. So there is a guidelines called as prisma statement, prisma statement. For you have to follow that prisma statement to do systematic review and meta-analysis. Short communications are again we have different types like letters to the editor, opinion manuscripts, and commentary. Opinion manuscripts are always invited. See, they can call you on a particular area to give an opinion. Opinion manuscripts are invited. Recently, one of the International Pharmaceutical Federation's journal called Pharmaceutical Education invited me to write opinion on health literacy in India. So that is based purely on invitation. Letters to the editor you can write, which is a shorter form, very shorter form, maybe less than 1,000 words with 3 or 4 references. If anything important that you wanted to communicate to an editor, you can do write a letter to the editor claiming about this is an important area that has been overlooked, that has not been focused more. So those areas can also be worked on. This letter to the editor will also be considered as a research publication only. Then commentary. Commentary for any published papers you can write. If a paper is published, you find something very fascinating about the paper. You wanted to accept whatever there in the paper with your experience too. Your experience indicates with the data. Without data, you cannot talk here. With the data that you wanted to accept, endorse the paper, you can write commentary. Or you wanted to go against the paper, you can still write the commentary and tell this is why I don't feel this conclusion is not satisfactory to me. So you can write commentary as well. Commentary can also be added to your research profiles as publications. Then comes to case studies, which as PharmD you can work more, little easier because of the number of cases that it comes to our settings on a regular basis. The thing is, case report is a single case. One unique case is called case report. Case series is similar finding, multiple cases if you come across, it becomes case series. So what is that case report you have to do is you saw a diabetes patient, you cannot publish that because all know what is there in diabetes. You see a diabetes patient with a specific newer thing, then you can go and think about publishing a case. Let me give you some examples. Recently, one of my student had a case where the patient had paracetamol allergy. Patient had paracetamol allergy and patient had fever. We cannot give paracetamol. Mefenamic acid did not work out. And luckily, chloramphenicol worked out. So that is an interesting case. That is a newer finding that chloramphenicol actually worked out in that particular case. So that can be published as a case report. There was one more case where we had a tuberculosis patient. The patient had tuberculosis lymphadenitis. His MON2 test was negative. Sputum AFB was negative. Lymph was enlarged here and there, but not in line with tuberculosis. The only thing that we found change in that patient is his platelet levels were vaguely changing. One particular day it is too high, around 400,000. The other particular day it fell too short, around 30,000. So that vague variations we were keeping on seeing. Finally, when biopsy has been done for the lymph, it found out to be tuberculosis lymphadenitis. So such kind of either difference in the diagnostics, different in the treatment strategy, difference in the patient's symptom, any single unique point is sufficient. You need not find a rare case, spine muscular atrophy, I got a new case. You need not go think till that extent. Any small, simple variation can also be published as a case report. The next one is case series. If the same phenomenon is there for a lot of patients, then it can be done as case series. One of the case series that we wrote is during COVID time, a lot of patients presented with Guillain-Barré syndrome. So GBS was there with COVID patients as a post-COVID complication. So that we had around 11 patients. So we told this is a possibility. There was one more case series which we did is malaria, clinical associated malaria for COVID cases. So this happened around 15 patients in my hospital. We patients developed the clinical associated malaria. So we published that as a case series. So you need to have a sharp eye thinking what can be published as a case series. So original research article, you should always follow a protocol. It is called IMRAD scheme. After abstract, there should be introduction, material methods, results, and discussion. We will discuss about that in complete detail. As I was telling previously, preprints play a major role. These are all the various preprint softwares that are available, preprint servers that are available. Beyond this also, there is SSN from Elsevier is there. And a lot of other preprints are definitely available. Nature Proceedings, which is a preprint. So bioarchive is preprint on biological sciences. Med-archive is where we can focus a lot. Chem archive 2. Archive is for physical sciences. Social archive is for social, psychological archive we can do. So these are the areas where we can submit paper while we are working on it, so that there is no other researcher who can overtake you. You can tell that I'm doing this. This is my paper. It is not considered as a publication, but it will be available in the online platform where you can get comments, reviews about it. But it is still not considered as publication unless it is accepted by another journal. Most journals do accept when a paper is in preprint, but not all papers. It should be something unique in that particular paper. So how are we going to write a manuscript? For a successful research manuscript, we need these areas to be covered. You should have a title, you should have author information, affiliations, abstract, keywords, introduction, material methods, results, discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement, tables, figures, and references. One by one, we'll go through. So ensure that your title is clear. It should be concise. Don't cross 20 words. Don't. Biggest advice is do not think about using any abbreviation. If you're using abbreviation, give fuller form and give the abbreviation. For example, trials generally have abbreviations. So give full form and give abbreviations. Try to write about the study design, randomized control trial, because if you do a randomized control trial, the consort statement says that you have to mention it in the title. So use the word randomized control trial. Otherwise, it may not be needed. Nowadays, people depend on ChatGPT for titles. My strict advice is do not ask ChatGPT for title. Give your title, have some catchy phrases, but still try to give your title by yourself. Don't go for any AI tools, because the first thing as a reviewer, when we see paper and we think that it is a ChatGPT generated title, we do not. There are a lot of chances that we may not accept that particular paper. So think about that. Clearly define what is going to be in your work and put it in very small words. I wanted to emphasize to everybody who are writing paper, focus on author information. Focus on the names, what name you are going to use it. Because a lot of times what we do, looking at the journal, looking at the time, we don't care about our spellings. We don't care about our surnames. We write in an unexpanded form. Do not do that. Try giving proper name. Use the same email for all your papers. and include details, complete details of the institution where you are affiliated to, including the address. So that if some researcher wanted to talk to you, collaborate with you, this helps a lot. This have been a good help for me because initially when I started writing papers, I got a lot of collaboration offers from UK, Sweden, and from Saudi, all these countries. It's because of the way that you write paper that makes a point. And try to give your name. Why I will tell that your name has to be given is I'll take my guide as an example. She used to have two names in her name. Sometimes there will be space in between both the names. Sometimes space will not be there. Sometimes one letter will be capitalized. Sometimes one will not be capitalized. Finally, when she started doing her research profile through Google Scholar or through Scopus, her papers are very difficult to trace out. It took us close to 14 to 16 months to trace out all her papers back. So never make that mistake. If you are giving some name from the beginning, try to maintain the same name. Do not change. Try to use a same email ID for as long as possible. If you change institution, it's fine. Use your personal email ID as well as the institution email ID. That gives more easier to track back your paper, because as a researcher you need citations. To track your citations, you need this particular information to be 100% correct. So abstract, you look at what is there in the particular journal, whether they are asking structured abstract or they are asking unstructured abstract. Unstructured abstract is nothing but you write as a paragraph, 250 to 300 words depending on the journal. Structured abstract is you give headings to that abstract: background, aim, methods, results, conclusion. So this can happen in the abstract section as well. So think about how the journal is asking what is there mentioned in that particular journals. The next thing after abstract is keywords. Depending upon the journal, give keywords. Choose the keyword only from your research question and choose this keyword from something called as medical subject headings. Medical subject heading is nothing but in National Library of Medicine. You have certain things called as medical subject headings. I've just used it. So this particular thing is called as medical subject headings, where you can find terminologies. What kind of terminologies you can use for for your paper. For example, if my paper involves something called as hand washing, I just was trying about it. So the exact keyword that you need to use in your paper is hand disinfection. This is the adequate keyword. If you use this keyword only, when someone finds out, searches for a paper, you will get your paper in their search strategy. If that is not happening, no, you will not get citations. So for that, you always check your subject heading with this particular browser. It is in National Library of Medicine, medical subject headings. Search your words and then focus on what words can be done. The next thing that you need to do is open any journal. If you're trying to publish in that particular journal, go to, see, in publish there will be something called as guide for authors or instruction for authors. Go to guide for authors and see what kind of papers they publish. For example, this particular journal, International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents, an Elsevier journal, it has an impact of 4.6, a good journal. So this has original articles. They can publish up to 4,000 words. Letters to the editor, as we were discussing, reviews, short communication, hot topics they were publishing. So this is what are the papers that they can publish. Go through this first so that you can see whether you can submit your paper to this particular journal. Then come down where you will have all informed consent basic details. Afterwards, there will be details about how we are going to present this paper. Okay, like article structure, how the structure should be, what are the sections that should be there mentioned in the structure. Introduction should have what. Okay, material method should be how much, results should be concise. So all this will be there. What kind of reference styling? See, abstract is a factual abstract they're asking. They did not mention it is structured or unstructured, so both are possible. So what are the highlights? These things what are needed in the journal will be clearly mentioned in the author instruction. Go through the author instruction as much as possible and try to stick to that 100%, because that fetches you the best chances of getting published. So after keywords, go to introduction. Do not write introduction too long. Try to keep introduction as short as possible. The best advice is keep introduction for 3 to 5 paragraphs, and each paragraph not more than 5 lines. That gives a lot of chances that your paper can get published. The first para, introduce the topic. Second para, talk about what has already been done. That is literature review. What has already been done on that particular topic. Third or fourth para, try to tell what you are going to do novelly in your work. What is the new thing that you are going to do? Because novelty plays a major role. Novelty doesn't imply that you need to find a new disease and work on new disease. No, if you change a methodology, it's novelty. For example, someone has done a work on a prospective model. They have followed up the patient till the outcome. Prospective model, and you want to do that on a retrospective model and come to a similar conclusion. It is still novel. And if suppose some person has done this particular work in, let us assume, in a different geographical location, and you are going to do it in South India, or you're going to do it in North India, in India, basically, that is also a novelty. So think about what are all the things that can constitute to be a novelty. A small change in methodology can still be novelty. You use a different diagnostic test to confirm the condition, still novelty. So think about all possibilities, and you can, any small change can be perceived as novelty and work on, and it can be accepted for a publication. So state the objectives, what you are going to do in your paper clearly, and do not drag the paper. 3 to 5 paragraphs is well and good. So material provide clear information, which kind of experimental designs we use. See, when we are in a clinical setup, we do different kind of studies. We do prospective, we do observe, retrospective, we do ambispective sometimes. Based on the nature, we do observational, we do interventional, we do randomized control trials, we do cohort studies, we do case control studies. So clearly have an idea what kind of study you are going to do, and mention that study methodology detail. In methodology, try to include a basic calculation of sample size. How did you determine to this particular sample size? Calculation is very important. Study setting, where you are going to do the study. Most journals do not like mentioning the name of the hospital. They do feel you have to mention it like a tertiary care hospital or primary care hospital in India, in South India. That is better. Do not name the hospital, because they don't generally try to avoid personal information. Then talk about study setting. Talk about, if you are involving patient, talk about informed consent procedure. Talk about institutional ethical committee approval. If you're doing patient, if you're doing animals, animal ethical committee approvals, and what kind of statistical test that you are going to do in your study, what kind of patient inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria you are going to define. So mention about all these things in your methodology. If you're doing in plant-based work, for plant collection, you need to take authentication certificate. That number is required. If you're doing a trial, clinical trial, that you wanted to publish it, before starting the trial, do clinical trial registry of India registration. That is very crucial and vital as well. So results, present results in a neat way. Do not repeat same data in table as well as graph. Keep only one thing, and don't do gender distribution, age distribution. No, pick up baseline characteristics. Tell what are all the baseline in your work. The, keep your tables and figures to minimal. Do not go beyond 10 tables or 10 figures. As minimal you keep, the easier for people to understand, the easier for a reviewer to understand. Sometimes we do a lot of research and we try to put as possible data as possible, but it may not work out well with the researchers. So try to keep as minimal as possible. 7 to 10 tables or figures will give you best idea. And always try to ensure that it is consistent with the objectives. If your first objective is talking about demographic parameters, then your first table should be about demographics. Try to be consistent with that. Do not interchange. And always when you're mentioning numerical data, try to mention what descriptive statistics you have used, whether you are using standard deviation, whether you are using mean, standard error of mean. So what is that data? Mention that. And number of significant digits, try to keep 2 decimals after that. Statistical values, use p-value up to 0.005. In fact, if you can go 0.0001 is also good. Try to keep statistical values. Clearly mention what stats you have done for that particular thing. Because in a paper, we sometimes mention we do 5 to 6 works, 5 to 6 stats. So mention for that particular table what kind of stats you have done. So tables, keep it neat. Give legends, give keynotes under the table. What are the legends are mentioned? So keep it concise. Don't go beyond 10 columns. Keep it lesser. Similarly, number of rows also don't go beyond a page. Keep it in a single printable page. That gives more readability. That gives more chances for getting accepted. So when we are talking about discussion, you always try to talk about each and every result, every table. In every table, start with every parameter and try to correlate with other studies that have been done. whether your work is going to, whether your data is similar to other works, or whether your data does not agree with other works. For example, in your setting, if you find out more female patients are getting hyperlipidemia, it may not be there in other papers. So you can tell that your work is contradicting with other papers, because more female patients have got hyperlipidemia in my work, and you can try to come up with what could be the possible reasons. So that is what you have to write in discussion. You take each and every table and try to correlate with other works and come with a justification, a logical justification. This helps reviewers to accept your paper more. And always the last end point of your discussion should be limitations. Mention your limitations. Please mention 3 to 5 limitations. That is good. After mentioning limitations, you can tell limitations. It can be done for a longer period. A longitudinal study may be required. Study with a different model can be done in the future. So keep it in a positive tone and tell future what can be done for the future. In future, we can do subgroup analysis. We can do multiple other. We can involve a large patient population. We can go for a different geographical location. Like that, you tell about what future holds for your particular research. Conclusion: keep it short. 10 lines, don't cross 10 lines, keep it in 10 lines and try to tell what has been done. Do not duplicate what is there in abstract. Just try to tell what has been done and what you have found. So acknowledge all funding resources, the hospital where you have done research lab, and basically your institution. Because why acknowledgement plays a role is when suppose someone, your recruiter or someone reads the paper, your acknowledgement actually plays a role. Whether you are that what you call contributing to the institution as well. So mention acknowledgement clearly. And references, look at the journal, what kind of references they are asking, whether it is Vancouver style, parenthetical, citation name system. So each journal, when we are looking at the author instructions, you can find out what is the particular reference, a particular style of references. So these are various styles of references. Please go through the journal. There you can find about what is the basic styles involved in referencing. So what are the basic steps we have to do to avoid editorial rejection is plagiarism. Do not ensure that your paper does not cross 10% of plagiarism, even though the paper might be your paper. Sometimes we would have done one paper. The second paper might be a continuation of that paper. Even then, you cannot copy paste words. Not more than 10%. That includes your name, excluding references, including your name from the title till conclusion. It should be less than 10%. Scope, as I said, look at the journal, read the journal, what is the scope, whether this journal publishes on that particular area. You may have written a very wonderful research on diabetes, but if that particular journal does not publish a paper on diabetes, there is no point of submitting there. So work on that. Read author instruction. As I said, 100% stick to author instruction. Do not deviate. If you are deviating while submitting, write a letter to the editor telling that I have deviated here because of this particular reason. That gives more chances of getting accepted. Then novel concept, as we were discussing, it should be a novel methodology, change in methodology, anything can work out. So how we are going to choose a journal? My sincerest advice is, since UGC has removed its care list, it has asked institution to come up with own journals. You start thinking about Scopus, Web of Sciences, and high impact journals. So how to go for Scopus, Web of Sciences, and high impact is, uh, see, this is Scopus primary page, Scopus preview. This page is called Scopus preview. Whatever subject area you wanted to do, you wanted to type on, you can type out here. Pharmacy, pharmacology. So you will get all papers on pharmacy. Select a journal here. See if the journal is having, if the journal is being included. See, this journal is from 2011 to 25. So this journal is presently in Scopus. You can publish in this journal. It is a good Scopus index journal. Likewise, you can browse through the list of journals and you can go for a publication in this journal. This is Scopus list. Then you have Web of Sciences. Web of Sciences is 4 level actually. The first level is Emerging Sources Citation Index, which is the entry level. Even that journals are also good. You can go and do. Or the next level is Science Citation Index expanded list, which is having impact factor. Any journal having impact factor, you can check only in this particular website. Generally, when you open a journal, no, each journal will give some impact factor 10, 12. They may be fake. If you want to know the exact impact factor of any journal, you should always come to this particular journal, this particular website, and check for impact factors. See, let me find any clinical pharmacy journals. So when you are searching here, you will get a list of journals, whichever are included in Web of Sciences. It can be Emerging Sciences, it can be the International Journal of Clinical Pharmacy is there. It is Science Citation Index expanded. So this means this journal has impact factor. clinical pharmacy and therapeutics. This is impact factor. This is having emerging sources citation index. This is not having impact factor. Maybe in a year or two it has. So this you can find out through this particular website called as Master Journalist by Clarivate Analytics. This gives a best chances for getting your paper in a good impact journal. This is what you have to trust. This has four major areas. As I said, emerging sources citation index and science citation expanded. This two is for us. Social sciences it for psychology, humanities, all psychology, commerce, management. Arts and humanities comes under humanities. So these the two rarely comes for us. These two are major for us. So pick up a journal in this and start communicating. This can be done. Additionally, they have this option called as manuscript matcher. Suppose you wrote a paper, can put the paper and its title and find journal. You will get a list of journals which matches to the scope they themselves give. Based on that, you can go and communicate to that particular journals. Not just in Clarivate, there are other areas too. Elsevier, MDPI, Frontiers, Springer, all these have their own journal finders. There you can give your title and abstract. Definitely, they will suggest you the journals in which your paper can get published. So these are the areas. Utilize these areas for publication. Some metrics which you need to keep in your mind is impact factor, citations, H index, item index. I'll talk about that. These are the profiles you need to maintain as a researcher: Google Scholar, Scopus, ResearchGate, etc. So once you start publishing, you need to maintain a Google Scholar page where they will track citations. How many people have given your paper as a reference? That becomes citation. H index is the number of papers cited, number of times. That is, if 10 papers are cited 10 times, your H index will be 10. So you need to maintain these profiles right from the beginning. Let it be Scopus profile, Google Scholar profile. All these things at the end of the day will help you out for having a successful profile. So as I said, these are basic things. Whenever we find a time, we can go and work on each and every particular topic as time permits. With that, I would like to finish my talk for the day. Is there any major doubts I can answer? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Guys, you can put your questions down in the chat box and I will dictate it for you.
I guess maybe then we can wind up. Thank you very much again. If any time permits, we can really discuss about this.
Sure, sir.
What should be the impact factor that should be noted before choosing particular? See, when you are starting out, I think Nirosha, your question is what should be the impact factor that should be noted before choosing particular journal. When you are starting as a researcher, your first paper, don't worry much about impact factor. Think only about Scopus. As you go ahead, you can start about thinking about impact factor. Even an impact factor of 1 is good. Okay, don't think that 1 is a very small number. 1 is a good impact factor. Most of journals do not even have 1. If you're publishing an impact factor of 1, you are already a much better researcher than most other individuals. So 1 is also good. Higher it goes, the better. My maximum impact factor that I have gone is 15. There are there are very few journals that are having in double digits. It is possible that you can go ahead once you progress in your career as a researcher. Websites that you can use for impact is you can use this particular website. You can directly search. You can create your own account in Clarivate. It's free. Sir, what happens if you publish an article in a free journal? It doesn't matter. You can publish an article in a free journal, not at all problem. It is good still if you're publishing in a free journal or subscription-based journal where you don't pay, where the people who needs to pay, who needs to read, pay. So that is still a good journal. Just you need to see that your journal is in Scopus, your journal is in Web of Sciences. That is important for us. It was very informative. Fifth year of PharmD will be doing a project. Can you share some good topics in cardiology? Can you share some journals seeing the research article? See, when you are searching for journals particular to cardiology, what I advise you is go to PubMed. First, pick out this medical subject headings and use the subject headings. For example, there is something called as AND gate. For example, cardiac arrest and uh, ischemia. Use the word "and" in between. You'll get a lot of papers. From that, you can pick up what kind of papers that can relevant to be yours. Regarding topics in cardiology, it depends exactly on hospital what is feasible for you. You can work right from diagnostic parameters. You can work on NT pro BNP, which is rarely done these days. D dimer can be worked on diagnostic parameters. Treatment outcomes you can work on. Risk factor profiling you can work on any particular disease, acute coronary syndrome, angina. A lot of areas you can work on. It completely depends upon the hospital thing. Necessary to get an ethical approval for whatever research we do. If you are involving human population, definitely it is mandatory. For a good journal, they do expect an ethical approval to be sought for any studies that involving human population. Even if you're asking the age of the patient, you need ethical approval. If it is a good journal, they definitely ask. Which is more preferred, structured or unstructured, if not mentioned? If you are having a research paper, structured is preferred. If you are having a review paper, unstructured is preferred. If it is not mentioned, if it is mentioned, you have to follow what is mentioned. I think if any other questions are there, I'm comfortable to answer. Uh, Please, you can write it to Dr. Bharat or someone so I can write back. I'm just rushing on a moment. I apologize for that. And thank you very much for the opportunity. I think Jennifer, you can take over. Thank you.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving your precious